Kevin Jennings and the offense played well enough to win this game, but defense, special teams, and some questionable coaching at certain junctures cost SMU against Baylor.
You are Locked On SMU, your daily podcast on the SMU Mustangs, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to this Locked On SMU quick post-game reaction, instant reaction to SMU falling to Baylor in double overtime, 48-45. I'm Grayson Singleton, and look, we're not feeling good. That was a rough one to swallow. You're up 14 late in the game, and then you give up 21 unanswered, and kicking, defense can't hold up, but ultimately you were in a track meet with a team that you didn't want to be in a track meet with. And I said this on Friday, I said it on Thursday. If you got into a track meet with Baylor with the way Sawyer Robertson can be explosive with his arm and the quality of receivers that Baylor has, that's not a game you're going to feel good about coming out on top of. And they didn't. It ended up being a game where the over smashed after I told you I'd rather take the under. SMU didn't do all that good of a job of making this a lower possession game, even though SMU ran the ball like I expected them to very, very well. TJ Harden was awesome. Chris Johnson Jr. was really good. I thought Kevin Jennings played well for the most part as well. But ultimately, especially in the second half, Baylor just went right down the field and right down the field and right down the field. And give credit to Sawyer Robertson and those receivers, man, because they exposed SMU for what SMU on defense is. They have a problem at corner. And quite frankly, they have problems defending the middle of the field when it comes to passing. But that's where we're going to start. The passing defense just isn't good enough right now. And I highlighted the safeties in one episode earlier this week. I didn't think they were that bad. I think there was one play on a touchdown where Sawyer Robertson fit it in between the cover two. Isaiah Wacobia was kind of held in the middle of the field and just couldn't get over there in time. Okay, that happens, but whatever's going on at corner has to be solved, because with the quality of quarterback that SMU is going to play this year, and you can go down the list, you can start with Josh Hoover coming up in a couple of weeks. Carson Beck has looked pretty good. Cade Klubnik is on the horizon. Even a guy like Miller Moss. You're going to play quarterbacks who are really good, and everybody's got solid receivers now, to the point where if they don't get that corner situation at least remedied to some degree, it's going to be a long, long season for this defense. And because they couldn't stop the pass, that defense ended up being on the field really, really long. It also didn't help that even though it's exciting, the fact that SMU was quickly going down the field and bombing Baylor over the top, which was awesome for the offense, extended the game for what the defense had to be on the field for. And ultimately, the run defense and the front seven, which I thought, at least the front four, I thought the front four was good. I thought the front four held its own. They were good against the run, except in certain spurts that I'm going to talk about later on in this reaction. But I thought they were good against the run. I thought early they were getting pressure on Sawyer Robertson, making him move. But ultimately, they just tired out from being on the field way too long and being unable to stop the pass, being unable to get off the field on third down. From the secondary perspective, I think played even more into the detriment of the front four, which, all things considered, was pretty good. But whether it was Speedy Nettles, Lamadrick Spencer, Jaden Milner-Jones, they put another corner in there whose name is slipping my mind right now. But whoever it was, it just wasn't good enough. And Jalen Davis-Robertson was the other corner that they put in there opposite of Deuce Harmon. And even Deuce Harmon wasn't great. He was fine again. I mean, he was fine in game one. And he was fine again today. Had a penalty, got beat once. Whatever it is, however you want to divvy out the blame and whatever grades you want to put on everybody, the cornerback play is not good enough right now to go up against high-quality quarterback play with really good receivers for that quarterback to throw to. It's just not good enough. And it's going to be something they have to fix. I mean, go back to the first quarter. It's fourth down, and Lamadrick Spencer's in the slot one-on-one with, I can't remember which Baylor receiver it was. But immediately, Lamadrick Spencer gets beat and has to grab, draws the penalty, and the drive continues. Now, Baylor doesn't end up scoring on that drive because they got a fourth down stop against the run. Again, credit the front four, which was awesome today, at least for the majority of it until they tired out. But it's going to be a long year. It's going to be a long year defensively for SMU if they cannot stop the pass. And if they cannot guard one-on-one and they can't guard in the middle of the field. And I'm going to reserve pessimism for the middle of the field part because you were down both of your starting inside linebackers. You were down Alex Kilgore, which we expected. We were down Zakai Barker, which that was interesting to me. But against the run, Maizano and Booker and Justin Medlock, they were pretty good against the run. Against the pass, a totally different story in the middle of the field. So I'm going to reserve some pessimism to see what it looks like once they get their starting linebackers back, depending on when that is going to be. But ultimately, the corners were not very good. The other thing that wasn't very good and would let SMU down was the kicking game. The Mustangs left 9 points on the board. And if you want to say, well, Colin Rogers missed a 57-yarder that could have won it, okay, fine, let's take that off. They left 6 points on the board. All of them critical. All of them critical. And one that was pretty makeable, too. The one that Rogers just completely hooked off to the left. I was shocked. I was shocked at that one. But he just seemed like he was all over the place today. Hooked one to the left. The 57-yarder had plenty of leg, but that was pushed off to the right. He pushed another one off to the right in overtime. And this is a guy who's on the Lou Groza Award list. He was projected as an all-ACC kicker this year in the preseason. And the first time he had to do something in a real game, boy, he came up diminutive. Like, not even small, just minuscule. It was bad. It was really bad because, look, you can't be in a position and you can't live in a world in the Power Four where your offense has to go score touchdowns every single time down the field because the offense did its thing. Shame on me for not having the box score pulled up as soon as we started this, but here we go. This was the SMU offense in terms of total yards, 458. Oh God, they gave up 601. Jeez. But Kevin Jennings threw for 297, 295, and 3 tuds. By the way, 16 of 22. Kevin Jennings did his thing. Running the ball. SMU ran the ball for 163 yards. The receivers made plays. The playmakers were there. But they cannot be expected in a Power 4 game against a Power 4 opponent, to score touchdowns every single time down the field. It's unsustainable. You have to be able to make kicks. And quite frankly, it just didn't happen. And that was another difference in the game. So the kicking game and the pass defense, I don't know if I'm going to sell all my Colin Rogers stock for the rest of the season, but he's got to have a quick turnaround with this. The pass defense, I think that's going to be something that could be a bigger concern as we continue to go on through the year. We'll take a break here. Coming up next, SMU's Playmakers showed out. That was a real positive. The guys around Kevin Jennings and even Kevin Jennings himself played very well. But there was also some strange, questionable coaching in the middle of this one. We'll tell you about it as we continue this Baylor postgame reaction here on Locked On SMU. You can just move through life, or you can find the things that move you. It's your choice. You can choose to get out there, choose your people. You can choose to go for it. Like, really, go for it. Just choose to do something that moves you. Mazda crafts cars for those who choose to do more than simply move. Mazda, move and be moved. It's almost the weekend, and it's time to look back and crown this week's MVP on Who Delivered, powered by DoorDash. Just like you can win every Saturday with DoorDash Streaks, saving more every time you order. These players delivered when it mattered the most. Let's go ahead and break this down. How about Romello Brinson in this game today against Baylor? Romello Brinson was fantastic. Bailed Kevin Jennings out on that first play that resulted in the big touchdown, and then lunging, diving catch in the end zone for the overtime touchdown. Romello Brinson was really good, and he's been delivering with Jordan Hudson out for this game here today. No hesitation and no delay. And if you've been watching the past couple of weeks, you know that it wasn't a fluke. And just like Romello Brinson delivered for SMU, DoorDash delivers on your Saturdays. With DoorDash Streaks, you save every Saturday you order. Stack it up all season and you could save up to $250, including $100 in DoorDash credits. Order this Saturday, keep the streak alive, fuel your game day only with DoorDash. Terms apply, promo period runs through November the 18th. All right, let's continue this reaction to SMU's 48-45 double overtime loss to Baylor. There was some positive here. And if we know anything, SMU's going to be able to score the ball this year, I think. Now, the defenses in the ACC, especially the ones that you really have to beat, the Clemsons of the world, the Miamis of the world, those defensive lines are going to be a lot better than Baylor's. But I thought, especially in the run blocking, SMU's offensive line was good. But let's get to the playmakers for a second. Because if there was any doubt that the Mustangs were going to be able to generate big plays, especially in the passing game with Jordan Hudson out, that has been completely wiped away. Romello Brinson goes over the top on a pretty badly thrown ball by Kevin Jennings. Way underthrown, should have been intercepted, but Brinson able to keep his concentration, haul it in, and then take off. Brinson also makes an excellent catch in overtime for a touchdown. But how about Jalen Cooper? Jalen Cooper, a second straight game with a touchdown to begin his collegiate career. The true freshman, Carterius Brown, made a catch on his one target. And how about the running game? I thought the running game was solid. And the final total of 3.7 yards per attempt is not going to really tell the accurate story of the running game. But TJ Harden, 115 yards on 19 carries, 3 tuds. He was excellent. Chris Johnson Jr., 6 carries for 21 yards. Some of that doesn't tell the whole story, but I thought he had a burst. And here's what I'm going to give the coaching staff credit for before I go into some questionable things that they did in this game. They found the hot hand, and they kept rolling with him, with TJ Harden. I mean, this dude was unstoppable. And he seems to fit the style of the blocking scheme. And he picks his way through holes, but he accelerates through them. And he finishes every single run forward. I mean, how many times, you may have seen it twice, where he was tackled and was either stymied or was driven backwards. I mean, he's finishing every single run as he's being tackled, going forward for an extra yard and a half. And you can appreciate that from TJ Harden. I thought he was excellent in this game. But around Kevin Jennings, and again, Kevin Jennings finished 16 for 22 passing after hitting on his first 10 for 295 and 3 touchdowns. The interception, that's going to happen. He underthrew it. Great play by the linebacker Redding. Not going to give him too much grief about that. But a 3-to-1 touchdown interception ratio you can live with. But the dudes he was throwing to, and it wasn't just 1 or 2, he spread it around. Brinson, 4 catches. Cooper, Hibner, Johnson, Maryland, 2 catches each. Link Rhodes had a catch. Carterius Brown had a catch. TJ Harden had 2 catches. One of them was that bonkers play where he got stripped and tripped by the ref. Which Kevin Jennings probably should have dirted that one. But in either way, even with Jordan Hudson out, SMU's going to be able to throw the ball. They're going to be able to generate explosives and move the ball. I liked what I saw from Matthew Hibner as a route runner. He ran a nice corner route in the first half, and good field awareness, toe tapping on an accurate ball from Jennings too. RJ Maryland, I like what they're doing with him. He's just, settling in the middle of zones, owning the middle of the field, stay ahead of schedule, move the chains. I like what they're doing with him. And then on the outside with Cooper and Brinson, they've got something there. They've got explosive deep threats. They've got dudes who can come back to the ball, and ultimately dudes who can make a lot happen after the catch. So SMU's got really good depth there, really good quality of playmakers that are helping make Kevin Jennings' life a lot easier. But when Jordan Hudson does come back, they're going to have an overwhelming number of playmakers for defenses. It'll be interesting to see how they are defended once Hudson does get back. And by the way, if you didn't notice, Hudson was in a sling in this game. So it'll be interesting to see how long it takes him to make it back. But I thought the playmakers were good in this game. I thought the offense was good. Kevin was good. The running game was excellent. The passing game was pretty good. There were a couple of times where he was under pressure. The pass pro doesn't get an A from me. It gets a B. The pass pro I thought was fine, especially since Baylor didn't blitz a whole heck of a lot in this game, I didn't think. So pass pro gets a B. And by the way, the running backs, I'm gonna one last point on them. They are good in pass protection too. They are good at picking up blitzes. I don't know if you noticed that, but they certainly are. Offensive line was fine. Offensive line in the running game, you get an A+ from me on that one as well. Now let's talk about the coaching to close this reaction out. Because there was a couple of times where the play calling on offense and on defense was rather intriguing. And let's start with the running game. So Baylor's running game, and you may look at it and say, well, SMU didn't stop the run very well. Bryson Washington ran the ball 31 times. Dang. Didn't realize that. Credit Baylor, by the way. I'm going to give Dave Aranda and Jake Spavital a lot of credit here. They did not panic and abandon the run game like they did last week. So they do get credit for that. But Bryson Washington ran the ball 31 times for $115. That's still 3.7 yards per carry. But a lot of those chunks, keep this in mind when a lot of those chunks happened. At the end of the second quarter and at the end of the fourth quarter, when they were driving in the 2-minute and SMU was exclusively playing the pass. Did you notice that? They were able to pop some surprise runs, and SMU was like, uh-oh, didn't really know where that was coming from. And the Baylor offensive line got up to the linebackers, sometimes into the secondary, and Bryson Washington was able to make some positive chunk plays out of those. If you are Scott Simons in those situations, you have to know that the clock stops on a first down when the chains are moved. This is a normal college thing. This is a very elementary college schematic when it comes to the 2-minute. If you're in range, run the ball, catch the defense by surprise, move the chains, and get that mini timeout. And Scott Simons never adjusted to that. They did it at the end of the first half, and they did it on that drive, that 10-play, 82-yard drive to tie the game late in the fourth quarter. And there was never any, hey, go, watch the run. They could possibly run. There was none of that. Then maybe that has a lot to do with both Kilgore and Zakai Barker being out. I am willing to say that. But that was pretty questionable how that was never either reiterated or emphasized to the signal callers that, hey, there could be a run coming. Because every single time in those situations, last drive of the first half, last drive of regulation, if Baylor tried to run the ball, they were getting that first down every single time. That was the only time Baylor's rushing attack looked viable for the most part. The last one, in terms of questionable play calling, was Rhett Lashley on the penultimate drive that Baylor had in regulation on that 3rd down and 4. Run the ball there. TJ Harden was getting 6.1 yards per carry. Run the ball. And if you're not going to run the ball, get something quick. I mean, there's no reason on a 3rd and 4 when your offensive line has decisively won the battle against Baylor's defensive line to drop Kevin Jennings back. I hated that play call. You have to run the ball in that situation or get a quick hitter, something, but not that. I mean, even if you got a quick hitter to the perimeter, at least you're playing a trend that has worked in your favor because guess what? Baylor's DBs didn't tackle SMU's wide receivers very well. So, man, some questionable stuff on the play calling in certain critical situations. And ultimately, those are the situations that can win and lose a football game. But more on this game and more looking ahead to Missouri State next weekend on Monday. We'll talk to you guys then. Thanks for watching this Locked On SMU post-game instant reaction to SMU's loss to the Baylor Bears. Take it easy, everybody.